Hello, I'm Ginkgo, the author of The Tree Mystic. In the last video on the subject of self-love, we said that before you master self-love, you must master the art of being mindful and the art of being loving. This video does that. It's with Solly the Tree Mystic and Bruno, and starts with being mindful. We start being mindful in our home. We focus totally on whatever we are doing instead of engaging with any thoughts that come into our mind. As we become more mindful, that which is manufactured loses its glitter. When we mindfully wash the dishes or chop a courgette, it takes us out of our mind and we can connect with our authentic selves. This is one of the key foundations of self-love. In addition to practicing mindful activities, a new start requires you to break away from your daily manufactured routines that may have trapped you in a world of gloom or inertia, like too much TV. You can do this by increasing your life force or your prana. It is achieved through things like mountain walks, sitting by the ocean, watching the stars, walking barefoot, planting in the garden, swimming in the river. However, the aim is total immersion, not an occasional experience. When we immerse ourselves in nature, we are able to answer the question, who am I? This is because if you spend enough time with nature and develop a relationship with it, eventually it will take you back to your core, to your authenticity. It is here at your core where you are experiencing silence, simplicity and stillness that you can dissolve your conflicts and your suffering. Being loving. Bruno asked, who must I be loving to? Everything in the universe. Every person, every forest, every insect, every field, every sea, every river. However, you must go beyond liking and appreciating. You must enter a relationship with the world. Where should I start? To start with, I recommend that you do some gardening. Dig carefully with a small garden tool until you discover something wriggling. It might be a beetle, it might be a worm. Ask yourself what its purpose might be. Remind yourself that its role is important, that what this little worm or beetle is doing ultimately affects Mother Earth and you. Then what? Then you can go further afield, take a trip to the mountains or to the forest to meet some animals in the wild. Think of it as going out on a date. Take some nuts to share with the squirrels. As you do with your plants, Bruno, inquire as to their well-being. When you return home from your nature trip, your stomach should be whirling. You should be worrying about whether the wildlife would like to meet you again for another date. When you decide that you are in a relationship with nature and the world, know that you are being loving. Bruno grinned. Solly did so too. Yes, I know it sounds crazy, but I'm just trying to make a point. It is not enough to sit under a tree listening to the birds singing. It is not enough to be an enthusiast. The heart must be stirred. There must be connection, a relationship. I think I understand it now. Be mindful, be loving, then practice self-love, and only when you have mastered these, go and look for a relationship. Yes, but don't restrict your intimate or deep relationships to a few people or a few things. Know that you can love many things and many people deeply. In fact, the more things that you love, the more practice you will get at being loving. However, don't think for 1 minute that this wider love will diminish your love for your family or your main partner. It will enhance it. For it is when love is limited that you become fearful, anxious of loss and rejection. Sounds very good in theory, Solly, but won't people become jealous? The insecure ones may. However, I am confident that there will be no jealousy in paradise. All the people that you have loved will be waiting in a line, ready to have a dance with you. They will have prepared a loving feast in your honour. Solly poured some tea. Now I must mention the importance of creating time and space. You, Bruno, are good at creating time and space. This is one of the first steps to being loving. When you are not chasing desires and ambitions, you have time to stop and say hello and time to listen. What will that do? When you look at your loving thoughts and your actions, you will see a loving person. This will give you self-worth. If you increase your loving, you will create good vibrations and energy. Now, those searching for love will be forced to turn their heads towards you before they have even seen you walk through the door. They will feel your light and vibrations. The pinnacle of self-love is seeing yourself as sacred. This can only be acquired when you subscribe to the premise that everything is sacred. And I leave you with this. It is not enough to sit under the tree and to listen to the birds sing. You must want to put a ring on nature's finger. That's the end of part 2, self-love. There will be more. You can buy the book at Amazon or at thetreemystic.com. Thank you for listening. See you soon. Goodbye.